Hi, everybody. This is Dr. Forth, and today I'm actually going to be talking about how to stay healthy during fall and winter season, or as we call it up here in the Northern Hemisphere, cold and flu season. We call it cold and flu season because at this time of the year, there's less sunlight and there's greater incidence of cold and flu infections. So, we're going to be going over some natural ways, things that you can do to help prevent illness and to recover faster if you actually get sick. So, the first things that we're going to talk about relate to different nutrients that can help with illness prevention and recovery. And the first one is vitamin D. Now, we don't usually hear about vitamin D relating to cold and flu prevention or immunity. You usually hear about vitamin D in relation to bone density. And the bone density is definitely the main use for vitamin D. In fact, that's what they usually do testing for in postmenopausal females at the office, and then make a prescription for vitamin D supplementation. However, vitamin D is also an important nutrient for preventing illness and helping to improve immune function. We would like to see those blood levels of vitamin D 50 to 65 nanograms per milliliter. And that is recommended in the literature. I'm going to put a citation in the description of the articles that I'm referencing here. So look for those in the description. The 50 to 65 nanograms per milliliter is determined to be a good level for maintaining general health and preventing illness. But you have to be careful with vitamin D supplementation because it is a fat soluble nutrient. So that means that you can't just megadose on it, taking a whole lot and have it flush out any excess levels. That does not happen with fat soluble nutrients. So they stay in the body. So you don't want to just carelessly take a whole bunch of it. It's always a good idea to get a blood level to see where you are before you start a supplement program. And you can get online order of vitamin D test kits, or you can go to a lab facility often without even any doctor's orders and just request that particular lab study. And it's not very expensive in most places. So vitamin D levels being optimized going to go a long way toward helping you not get sick and helping you to recover if you do get sick. The next nutrient we're going to talk about is vitamin C. You've probably heard about this because, all of the stores have big sales areas at this time of the year with vitamin C and cough drops and all other kinds of cold and flu related over the counter materials. So we know that vitamin C helps with immunity. In fact, Linus Pauling, he did some research about that. He got a Nobel Prize in chemistry, and actually, he got two Nobel Prizes. The one was in chemistry, and one was for peace related to his trying to prevent the proliferation of nuclear weapons. Nevertheless, his chemistry work was looking at immunity, and he theorized that the vitamin C could actually treat and prevent colds, but he didn't have the evidence at that time to actually prove that definitively. And after the COVID years, there was another study done by a group that looked at that particularly. And I will also link that citation in the description because they did find some good data about it. Another study showed how vitamin C helps with immunity. Particularly, it is absorbed by the immune cells that are attacking and gobbling up the pathogens to help them become more effective in their job. And so I will be linking that study as well. So vitamin C is a great tool for helping you to prevent illness and vitamin C is water soluble. So that means that you can take higher doses without the risk that the fat soluble nutrients have. And in fact, I recommend if you are sick that vitamin C be taken throughout the day because it's going to be getting flushed out of the body. Always make sure that you have a good amount of liquid whenever you take the vitamin C. And also, vitamin C is found in all of your fruits and vegetables. So, the more raw fruits and vegetables you can find, the better for maintaining your vitamin C status. It's important to make sure that you are appropriately hydrated as well. Your mucous membrane linings, this is on your eyes, in your nose and mouth, they are part of the first line of defense to prevent infection. And so you want to make sure that you're adequately hydrated because that helps to keep the mucus nice and thin and watery and helps to protect you from any kind of invading pathogens. Now, we can't say for sure a specific amount of fluid everybody should drink because it varies so much depending on everyone's individual biochemistry and what's going on with them. So instead, we have some general guidelines. I tell my patients about half of your body's weight in ounces. Now, that's very confusing. You don't want to take your body mass and convert it to ounces and do half of that because that's way too much. What I mean is simply this. If you weighed 100 pounds, 50 ounces, so half of that, would be a good general guideline for the day. Now, of course, that depends on if you're going to be outside, if you're going to be sweating a lot, but you don't want to just have a whole bunch of water at one time because it is possible to consume too much water. Another good general guideline for your hydration status is when you go to the bathroom, if you look, the urine should be pale but not clear. If it's clear, you might be drinking too much water, so you'd want to hold off on drinking a little bit. On the other hand, if it's pretty dark, you might need to have an extra glass of water. So those are general guidelines, but again, don't go crazy drinking a whole lot of water because it is possible to have too much. So use that 50% rule as guidance and then just track, your hydration status by looking at the urine color. So making sure that you're adequately hydrated is really important. You can actually use a vaporizer in your home. This might be useful because often heat systems really dry out your space. So the vaporizer, uh, that's better than the humidifier. Vaporizers usually use heat, and the humidifiers can have problems with certain kinds of mold growth because of the way that they generate the moisture. So whether you use a vaporizer or humidifier, make sure that you keep your device really clean. You can use saltwater nasal irrigation. You can actually purchase just the salt water, make sure it's not medicated nose drops because those can have other issues, but just the salt water spray for the nasal passages. And you can use salt water as a rinse or gargle. Did you know that salt can actually inhibit the growth of certain kinds of streptococcus species? This is why they recommend saltwater gargle to help with sore throat, or even rinsing with salt water in the mouth can decrease the amount of strep bacteria in the mouth. Staphylococcus happily grow on salt agar, so salt definitely does not inhibit staphylococcus. But most of the sore throat type of bacteria are of the strep species, most of them. The salt actually helps to draw water out of those bacteria cells and dehydrates them. So maintaining moisture and the salt saline spray or gargle can all help with that. Certain essential oils can help with preventing illness. I like to diffuse a certain blend that helps to keep down the number of bacteria. It's interesting. I was making homebrew kombucha, which is fermented tea, and I noticed that when I had my diffuser going too close to the fermentation container, it actually stopped the fermentation process. So it was kind of proof of the efficacy of the essential oils. Certain oils are stronger than others, particularly Eucalyptus radiata is great for respiratory use in helping to also clear out the nasal passages. There's an article published in a journal. I'm going to link the citation. It's called Molecules, was the name of the journal from 2015, showing antibacterial effects of different essential oils. If you have pets, make sure that wherever you're diffusing, the pets have the ability to leave the room. And if you want more information about essential oils, safety, and using with pets, Dr. Janet Rourke and Dr. Melissa Shelton are veterinarians that specialize with essential oil use in pets. Also, basic hygiene level makes a big difference in illness prevention. That makes sense, right? So keeping the house clean, watching high touch areas like door handles and so forth. Don't touch your face, particularly not your eyes. Uh, Washing your hands before you eat. I'm actually going to be doing an entire video about hand washing and also the use of masks. So stay tuned for that. And hopefully you found this video useful.